Hello, this video is all about how to pitch a TV show with a slight twist. You see, most of the videos on YouTube about how to pitch a TV show are about the actual structure of a pitch. But I think there's a much bigger problem we need to address first. I mean, how the flip do you actually get to pitch a TV show in the first place? Roll the thing. I'm currently playing a game to become a comedy producer, and I feel like I'm very close right now. So I've recently wrapped on a live-action sitcom pilot called The Sketchbook. We've submitted that to smaller networks, the BBC, Channel 4, ITV, and one or two others. And we've also got a comedy pilot, which I also wrote, called Time Family. An animation, similar kind of style to Rick and Morty in terms of the humour. And before too long, we will be pitching that to the likes of Amazon Studios, Apple TV, and also Netflix. What I actually found before I had my production company was none of what I'm doing right now would be possible in terms of the people who I can get in contact with. And the people who I'm contacting, with these proposals are commissioners. They are the decision makers. They're the ones who will actually give the green light to what actually runs on TV and what doesn't run on TV. Before I had my production company, it was just so much harder. It was so much harder, and my experience was I would have to call people, I'd leave messages with their assistants, the messages would rarely be passed on, and I was just never really taken that seriously. Before, again, I had my production company, what I would do as well was I'd approach other more established production companies, and then I'd try and sell my script or sell my idea with them. I got like a similar kind of response. I just had to kept calling, and I suddenly realized that there are many people out there, many writers out there who are playing a similar game, and they are also doing the same kind of thing that I was doing. They are approaching these established production companies, they're sending scripts through, they are trying to get in touch with commissioners and not getting through. And I suddenly realised, oh, hang on a second, why don't I just create a production company and have that be a vehicle that I can use to actually approach commissioners? Wouldn't that make my life a hell of a lot easier? And it did. I'll be totally honest, it really did. And to put what I'm saying into, I guess, more context, we could look at the BBC as an example. Now, as an uncommissioned writer approaching the BBC, you only have access to something called writer's room. What is the writer's room? Well, the writer's room is basically where you can send your script through, and then people who work under the commissioners will go through your scripts. Now, what is the potential problem with the BBC writer's room? Well, I guess whoever's going to be reading your script, they're not the decision makers. Yeah, I'm sure they are, trained to an extent, but they might miss something or kind of gloss over something which a commissioner might actually like. You'd never know. You don't actually know who's going to read your script if you go through the BBC writer's room. But like I say, as an uncommissioned writer, your hands are tied, and that is really your only option to approach the BBC. Now, on the flip side, if you are a production company, you've got access to this area, which displays the different commissioners of the BBC. You also could potentially get access to the BBC pitch system. What's the BBC pitch system? Well, that's a system where production companies can submit their ideas. Now, the caveat with that is that you do need to have a commission show already under your belt. Now, I'm sure you're probably not going to have that if you're watching this video. If you go through the terms of the BBC pitch system, there is something in there that says that you can be invited to go onto the BBC pitch system if you are a production company, and you can be invited by a commissioner. So, back in the day of being an uncommissioned writer, I quickly decided that, geez, I need to create a limited company. And I guess I was lucky enough to be in a position where I had experience with setting up a limited company before in the past. It wasn't daunting to me. I was very, very used to it. And I set that up, and then what I did was I made it dormant. Now, making a limited company dormant really means that you don't have to file any paperwork in terms of accounts. All you need to do each year is file an annual return, which I think is about £13, which is just like a declaration that you're, still, running the business, you still have the business, you're still the main shareholder. I mean, honestly, guys, it takes a couple minutes, and then that's it. And I had this limited company, and it was dormant for a number of years before I started trading through it. And it really did give me access, and much better access, to commissioners to get my projects out there and get my projects actually noticed, opposed to when I was a uncommissioned writer. So here's the steps as I see them to pitch your show to a TV commissioner. Step 1 is to get your package together, and it all starts with a really great script. Make sure your script is as good as it possibly can be. Now, with my latest sitcom, I worked with 2 different sitcom consultants. I found one of those through a freelance site called People Per Hour. There are other freelancer sites out there that you could try, like freelancer.com. And I tell you what, working with these 2 consultants made a world of difference with my script. It made it so entirely much better. Like, I can't even put into words how much better my script was after working with them. And just to be clear here, they didn't, rewrite anything for me. They just really went through the script and the structure of the script. And they told me what was missing, what was inconsistent, what should be removed, 1 or 2 ideas about the general direction that I really should be going in to make the tone consistent, and also 1 or 2 suggestions as well, just to kind of tighten up 1 or 2 of the gags. And like I say, it made like an absolute massive difference. I think the other thing you need as part of your package is a episode Bible. Commissioners are going to want to know, where does your show go if you just give them 1 episode and that's it. They don't know, they can't see or predict the future that's in your head with the show. They can't see that. So really kind of guide them through how your show is going to run. What's going to be the big conclusion of the series? Are you creating a show that has a reset button at the end of every episode, or are you creating something with a plot arc? If it is a plot arc, then you show the development of that plot arc throughout the entire series in your episode Bible. And then the final part of this is to create a engaging pitch. Make it snappy, short, and engaging. Now, I get that I ran through that in a lightning quick speed because I'm really kind of focusing on what I was talking about before, about the business structure. If you do want to see a more fleshed out video on these points, but actually creating the package itself, please do leave me a comment below, and I will create that as a separate video. Step 2 is to create a company to operate under. As I mentioned before, that will give you a production company umbrella, allowing you to approach the decision makers much sooner rather than later. Now, how this is going to work is going to differ depending on what country you are watching this from. If you're watching this in America, it's going to be very different to if you're watching it in the UK. If you are watching this in the UK, then I did create a video on how to create a limited company, which you click through up here. But if you are watching this in any other country, please just do a little bit of research onto how to create a company structure inside of the country that you're watching this from. And that really moves me on to step 3, which is turning your company dormant. Now, again, this will differ depending on what country you're watching this from, but if you're in the UK, all you need to do is go to the Companies House website, type in dormant company or how to make a company dormant, and then there'll be links there to take you through to a form that you just need to download and fill in and then send through to Companies House, and then they will make your company dormant. And as I mentioned before, that will mean that you won't have to worry about any of the paperwork, the main paperwork that comes with having a limited company. You won't have to worry about your accounts. You just need to file an annual return, which is about £13 a year, and then that's it. That's your umbrella. That's your structure. People can look for your production company and find it on Companies House. You could put whatever you could put whatever production company you want. And the final step here, guys, is to go onto the freelance sites that I mentioned previously to hire a freelancer to build you a very basic production website to give your production company a online presence. And it really doesn't have to be that glamorous. It could be a very basic 1-page website. You just need to write, let's say, half an A4 page of text for that website, but you just need some kind of staple, some kind of online presence so that you can actually show a commissioner that you've got a URL and you are a registered production company, or a registered company at very least. Now, in terms of cost, it'll probably cost you maybe, let's say, £10 for the year to get the domain and have that hosted. And then for hiring a freelancer to actually build that site for you, if you were to do it on the cheap and use one of these freelance sites, it'll cost you anywhere from 20 to 30 quid. So look, guys, I know that the process that I have spoken about does cost a little money. You will need to invest a bit and cough a bit of money to do this. But, you know, trust me, it will give you better access to commissioners. It will give you better access to the decision makers for your projects. Now, will it guarantee that your project gets picked up and gets put on TV? No, of course not. You know, you might have a really bad script. The commissioner might be having an off day when he reads your script. They might be looking for something completely different to what you actually pitched to them. All of these kind of different things are factors which will really kind of form their final decision and inform their final decision as well. But I think this game, it really is about increasing your chances. What can you do to increase your chances of getting the decision makers to actually read your script and make a firm decision, yes or no? Because it's one thing if someone reads your script inside of a network and they're not a decision maker, they're not like a final decision maker, and then they make a yes or no choice on your script. But it's an entirely another thing if you're someone at the top of the ladder, at the top of the tree, reads your scripts, and then says yes or no. I think that's a completely kind of different ball game, because at least from that, if you do get a no at that kind of level, you've done everything that you know that you possibly could have done to get your script read by someone who has authority to make the right decisions. And then you go back to the drawing board, you know, and learn from the feedback, learn from the knockback, and then, yeah, move up to another level and look at what was missing in what you did before. So guys, look, that is the end of the video. I really hope that this video was helpful and that you enjoyed it. Please do smash that like button, leave me a comment below, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.